Hey, this is Brett Gursky. Welcome to another episode of On the List. This is episode number 60. It's February 2021. We're coming to you from the BLEAV podcast network. My guests today are old friends of mine who I've known since their days off camera, but for the last 5 years, they've been in front of the camera as the stars of Bravo's hottest show, Summer House. It's now in its fifth season. It's bigger than ever. These two have been on since the very beginning. They're the OGs. Of course, I'm talking about Carl Radke and Lindsay Hubbard. What's up, guys?
Hey, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
How's it going?
That's a great intro.
Yeah, quite the intro.
I love the intro.
Well, I mean, come on. I spoke.
Steal that intro for ourselves.
Totally, yeah. Everywhere you go, make sure people announce that before you walk into the room.
The hottest show on TV. We like hearing that. Well, you did text me the other day and you said it was #1 on iTunes. But
I turned on Apple TV, and the first thing I see is #1 show, Summer House. I take a picture of the TV. I text it to you guys, and you were like, "What?"
Yeah, like what?
Well, when we started, it was only cable, right? And
Right.
it was before all the streaming services came about in the last 5 years. So it's really cool and interesting to see different ways that people can access our show now, and it's obviously helpful for our ratings. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was shocked.
it's fun to see.
It's cool to see. After all these years, you're like, we're #1 for a couple days.
No, totally. Well, I think when people thought of Bravo in the beginning, they thought Real Housewives, they thought Vanderpump Rules, and like Summer House to me was like the little show that built and built every year. You know, most shows get less popular the longer they're on. Your show just keeps getting more popular. I think that's awesome.
Well, I think that's a testament to some of the originals. You know, just our life. I mean, you caught us at an interesting part of our lives. Like, I mean, I'm 36 now. I started
Right.
Summer House when I was 31.
Right.
So, you know, Lindsay's what? You're 34.
34.
So she started in her late 20s.
Yeah.
Which is just like such formative years for your life. I mean, obviously, you know us from like post college.
Oh yeah,
we're in LA. And
we're gonna talk all about that.
yeah,
Brett, okay, keep going.
but yeah, there's still a lot of transition that you're viewing on Summer House, which is why I think people keep coming in to watch because they want to see us in our relationship. They want to see us grow as careers.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's that. But like I said, yeah, it's the rare show that gets bigger over time. So before we get into all that, we are on Zoom right now. So the video from this podcast will be available on YouTube and Instagram. And I also, before we get started, have to thank our sponsors, Magic Spoon Cereal, Hum Nutrition, and eBay. Got some big sponsors. Do you guys love it?
Spoon, actually.
I know, me too. I eat it every day.
I have them in my closet. I have them in my cupboard right now. I hide cereal in the closet.
Right, exactly.
You take that.
Surprise
also-
in the pantry.
I know. I was gonna say pantry. You beat me to it. We'll get into that too. I have that on here. But
I just finished recording Watch What Happens Live, and I was like, Carl, because we live in the same building now. I
yeah,
was like, Carl, I'm coming downstairs. He's like, that's great. I'm just eating cereal.
I was eating cereal.
it's great. You guys can't get enough of living with each other.
No, we can't.
No, well, there's a little bit of a separation. She's on a different, much nicer, higher floor. I'm on the lower end, but
Still the same building.
she's literally one of my best friends, and
I know.
especially with what's going on in the world, why wouldn't I want to live in the same building? This is a unique opportunity. It's a really cool place in Gramercy. It's been nothing but it's been amazing living in here. Honestly, it's one of the best.
Yeah, we do everything together.
Great. And-
Grocery shopping,
Grocery shopping.
bitching and moaning.
Yeah.
All of it.
It's
Watch
no longer.
movies, cook food.
It's no longer limited to just the summer. It's year round with you two.
Yep.
One more thing I have to mention too. I'm wearing an On the List hoodie right now, and it was sent to me as a gift by Eat Sleep Tie Dye. They made it for me just to be nice, and I liked it so much I asked them if we could sell some for charity. So if people go to eatsleeptiedye.com and get an On the List hoodie, the proceeds go to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation for Childhood Cancer, which is one of my favorite charities. So I thought I'd wear that today with you guys. And I'm going to ask them to send one to each of you guys for being on the show today.
Oh my God, we're buying one right now. We're buying two. We need
No,
extra
they're-
large for Carl.
Well, they were going to send them to you, but if you'd like, it could go to charity.
Okay. Well,
But, okay.
We would love some. I mean, we're big, obviously we have a tremendous platform, and I think that's where, stuff like this is part of the cool thing of being in this position is we can help, inform
Alright.
people and drive awareness. So
Absolutely.
shout out to Alex's Lemonade Stand.
Absolutely. Thanks. So now let's talk about Carl and Lindsay and Summer House. Like we said, #1 show on iTunes, hottest show on TV. How does it feel when you guys see that your life is the subject of the hottest show on TV? Is it surreal? It must be surreal.
there's a lot of sacrifices, right? Like it's like a lot of things that like in normal everyday life, if you don't have a camera following you, it's like things that everyone does, but we just share it with the rude.
She's so busy. She's getting calls during a podcast.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Anybody good?
It's Aunt Rhonda.
Oh, Aunt Rhonda. She's one of her.
Aunt Rhonda.
Hey, Aunt Rhonda.
We're filming. We're doing a podcast right now, so I have to call you back. Love you.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Aunt Rhonda's like a character on Summer House, right?
She is.
She really is. She's a character. She is a character.
She's a character, and she is on Summer House. She's like, she's Lindsay's confidant and really been a big supporter of Lindsay. So
absolutely,
she's probably just checking in on you.
Funny story. So like it was season 2. We paired Aunt Rhonda and Sharon, Carl's mom,
right?
To we got them an Airbnb together, and it was like a Mom's weekend, like Mom's weekend, and they actually got kicked out of their Airbnb for being too loud.
Wow.
The ladies got a little rowdy in the Hamptons.
Now we know where you guys get it
My
from.
mom, or I had to get her an Uber that Sunday morning because they were supposed to check out, and like the woman like down below like basically yelled at them. It was like, "You're so loud, you guys have to leave."
Wow. Maybe you could do like a Moms and Aunts of Summer House spinoff.
Yeah, we should.
I actually called it the real therapists of the Hamptons.
Of the Hamptons.
The moms and the aunts and like our family members are like the ones that come to the house and like, it's gonna be okay. You're a good person. You know, that kind of, we need that little level of
support. And there are a support system. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you need that.
I mean, Brett, to answer your question, like, is it weird seeing yourself on TV? Like, for us, yeah, it is weird because, like, I mean, her and I and Kyle put our heart and soul into this thing. I mean, going into each summer, I mean, specifically the first, we kind of didn't know what the hell we're getting into, truthfully.
Right.
I mean, we were excited to be with our group of friends. We knew there was a unique opportunity to do something different. But that first and second summer, people were like, I don't care about your stupid show. I don't want to talk. Like, and it's funny, the shift that's happened in the last 2 years.
Yep.
I had a friend of mine, he's actually works at UTA in LA. And like, we had lunch and I was talking about stuff. He's like, dude, no one cares about your fucking show. Pardon my language.
Very supportive.
He's kind of kidding, but being like a friend. And then like now he literally texts me like
what's his name?
Is it coming back? Like I need to know.
Right.
I want to put him on blast, but he's a good guy. But yeah, it's just it's surreal thinking people are now catching up to it.
Well, you also like you have to establish yourself as a show with staying power that like and 5 seasons, 5 years of staying power on a huge national network. And also internationally syndicated, it's just like, whoa. And so Carl and I just like stop and like reflect and we're just like, how did this happen? How did we get here?
I agree.
Like yesterday we were like walking into season 1 and 5 years later, we're like living in the same building, best friends, things have happened. And we're like where did the time go and how did this become so popular? Because we were just ourselves. And like, I think that is also, a testament to like, we're just ourselves.
Yeah.
And like, unfortunately for Carl and I, drama just slaps us in the face. Like we breathe and it's like slap drama, and we're just like, what?
But I think,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even though there's drama, you guys are so likable. I think that's the nice thing. It's not like drama like some shows where it's the villain. I think it's the nice people that are, finding themselves.
There's a relatability with our show that I'm proud of. I mean, Kyle always talks about like, we're not a bunch of rich trust fund kids.
Right.
That are just throwing our money away. I mean, majority of us, and again, I love everybody, but Kyle, Lindsay, and I specifically, I mean, we came into this show as like hardworking professionals in New York. Kyle and his entrepreneurial stuff, obviously Lindsay with her business and the PR game, me and the sales. Like we all had like legitimate careers that we kind of are like, I'm willing to risk, this platform and this whole thing for. But it's nuts. Like I was telling Lindsay, like I get DMs still. People binge watched all 4 seasons.
Right. Exactly.
Like I hated you, now I like you, and like I watched it all in 2 weeks, and I was like, that literally was 5 years of my real life.
Yeah,
like it's a long time. So it's nuts. We're very blessed and grateful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, Brett, you and I talk about like hustling.
Yeah,
we met.
Okay, let me tell people because I think people need to know what it was like before Summer House. So I knew you guys separately before there was even a Summer House show. But you guys didn't know each other when I knew you separately, right? In
When
LA?
did you and Carl meet? I don't even know how you.
I knew both of you when you were living in LA, but you didn't know each other in LA, right?
No,
Were we in LA at the same
we
time?
were. I think we overlapped.
Yeah. So I'll give you the backstory. So Carl and I both went to Syracuse. We were both in the Newhouse School, both majored in TRF, which is television, radio, film. Carl always says we're just two guys from Newhouse. He's very humble. And
out to Newhouse. Anybody's listening?
Absolutely.
You can make it. You can make it.
Yeah, if you want to go to the #1 communication school in the country, go to Newhouse at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Well,
by the way, University of Florida competed with Syracuse for the School of Communication. I know because I went to the University of Florida School of Communication, majored in PR. Yeah, go Gators.
There's that Gator chop.
Yeah, I will Gator chomp your ass.
all right. Listen, I'm just quoting my college counselor from 1988. But I believe you. I believe you. So after college, Carl moved out to LA, where I live, and he worked with our mutual friend Nick, who married our friend Audra, and they used to come to Bootsy Bellows, and we used to hang out. Right. But that's why I wonder if you guys were ever at Bootsy at the same time. That would be crazy.
I mean, that place
Are you kidding? Bootsy Bellows.
I know.
Yeah, well, Nick and Audra, they just had their first baby, Rosie.
They just had a baby. I know.
Nick texted me last night. He goes, "Rosie's watching her first episode of Summer House." I was like, "She's not ready for that yet."
No, she's not even a month old.
Yeah, cover her
Uncle
eyes.
Carl's got some splaining to do.
He does. Well, hopefully by the time she's old enough, you'll have completely redeemed yourself. She'll only watch the most recent season.
That's the hope.
And so then Lindsay lived in LA, and she was a publicist at a company called Fingerprint, which is Jessica Meisel's PR firm. And I used to throw dinner parties and events at the places where Fingerprint did the PR. And so it started in 2007. I don't know if you were there yet, Lindsay, but I had a Wednesday night dinner party at a place called Prime Grill on Rodeo Drive, and they were a Fingerprint client. And that went so well that they ended up hiring me to do the Muscle Milk Fitness Retreat with Lindsay, and that was like our project. We worked very closely together.
That was like 2009, 2010.
Yeah, no, the Muscle Milk was like 2011 by the time we got that project, I think. But that was like you and me. We were in charge of the whole thing.
We were in charge of the entire thing. I was like, can I have like a partner in this? And they were like, yeah, his name is Brett Gursky. Here's his number. And like you were in charge of getting like celebrities, and I was in charge of getting media. And then it was like this basically like fitness retreat. Muscle Milk was our client, and we brought in like media, celebrities, and professional like celebrity fitness trainers to work people out for like a period of 3 weeks straight.
Yeah, every day.
Every single day. And like Brett and I were like pounding our heads like, okay, like you got this person, I got this person, you got
Lindsay was calling me all day long. We were talking constantly. She's like, tomorrow we have to do this, the next day we have to do this. But we pulled it off. And by the way, we took a parking lot in Beverly Hills next to like an agency. I think maybe next to UTA.
Next to our office, yeah.
Yeah, and we took an empty parking lot and turned it into a basketball court with a fitness retreat with workout equipment. And we worked there every day for 3 weeks. But we pulled it off. And the grand finale was a celebrity 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And we had Kellen Lutz had a team, and Austin Stoll had a team. And the winning team was Scott Porter from Friday Night Lights. And they won, money for charity. But we had a lot of fun.
All of their numbers.
Yeah. But we bonded. I mean, that was... That
you guys made me officiate it.
That's right.
Like, Lindsay, you're going to officiate this like celebrity basketball tournament. And I was like... Huh?
Wait, maybe that was your
3 years old, like, basically like, okay, yeah, no.
But maybe that's what gave you the confidence to now have a career in front of the camera. I'm now going to take credit for that.
She is made for TV. I've always thought that. I mean,
you know what? I looking back, it seems so obvious now, but at the time she was such like a powerhouse behind the scenes that I didn't think she wanted to be in front of the camera.
It's a very different dynamic, right? Like being a publicist, you are very much the one behind the scenes, behind the camera, pulling the strings. Like How many red carpets have I run where I'm like setting up media interviews for the celebrities on the red carpet, like a Kardashian red carpet with every Kardashian on it at the Colony. I was like, and that was
I remember that
big at Fingerprint. I was like, oh shit.
I remember that.
I got this. we're doing this, you know? So I was always behind the scenes and like the one being the puppeteer and like, but everyone sort of paid attention to that because I was so just like kind of controlling everything around me and, you know, had a decent personality to go along with it. Like I wasn't just like this dull,
no, you're fun.
Like,
you were
person.
fun. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just always a fun girl entertaining everyone.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, Brett, like I've seen her since now being on camera, but also still being a publicist. And she still can do like behind the, it's funny watching her. Like she did a fashion show a couple seasons ago at the Dream Hotel that at the time, Amit, one of our cast members, had walked, a grungy gentleman.
Yeah, grungy
so, like we show up and it was like, this girl was working, like fuck the camera, excuse my language again. But she was all on it and all over it and so good at what she does, but you would forget that that's also.
It's Carl's favorite thing about me. It's like, and I also opened LC Rooftop that summer, which was not on TV, but Carl the next day was like, I just like love watching you. I love watching you.
Running the room and like, I mean, she didn't even have a clipboard, but I felt like she did have a clipboard.
Right.
It was like that kind of Lindsay, like ready to go, like getting shit done.
Well, it's like I had like all of the Mets players showing up and I had to like get my photographer to take photos of the Mets players with like my clients, the owners of the rooftop. And I was just like, you know, like, so you see my hands in the air, but you don't know where I'm at. And like Carl's just like watching this, like, holy shit.
It was impressive.
You know, that actually reminds me of the one time. Oh, never mind.
You can tell it.
Okay, so
she was gonna tell it anyway.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, like there was this one time it was like I had Olivia Wilde and I was representing like a liquor brand, and I had to get Olivia Wilde to take a photo with this like bottle of like cognac.
Okay.
And I was like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I'm legitimately 23. This is in Malibu, Brett. So this is like in my LA days. And I was like, oh my God. And so I have my photographers like, look, time's up. Like I have to go to my next job. And I was like, no, give me 5 more minutes. Give me 5 more minutes. And I have to get this like photo of Olivia Wilde with this cognac. And I have to get the shot. And there's like this circle of people with her in there doing like a magic trick with like coins. And she dropped a quarter. And I was like, let me get that for you. So I pick up the quarter and I hand it back to her along with the cognac. And I was like, by the way, can you hold this for a second? And I bend down and I look at my photographer like, shoot the fucking photo now. And I come back up with the quarter and I go, here you go. And I take the bottle of cognac back and she goes, oh, I see what you did there. And I was like, enjoy your night.
Exactly. But you know what? You delivered. Actually, you did the same thing at the Muscle Milk retreat. You went around giving everyone Muscle Milk jerseys, and you were just like, put this on, put this on, put this on. All of a sudden, all these actors are wearing Muscle Milk jerseys. You have photographers taking pictures. I think what's amazing is that, you know, people see the picture. They don't realize the amount of work it goes into to get the brand and the celebrity together for that photo op. They just see the finished product. But it's a lot of work.
It's funny, but now in reverse, I remember we were at an OK Magazine party like 2 years ago, and this girl came over to me. He goes, "Hold this Heineken. You have to hold this Heineken." I'm like, "Okay." So I hold the Heineken. 2 seconds later, this photographer comes around. He's like, "Yeah." It was just that came full circle.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you all of a sudden you're like, so this wasn't a natural situation. Like a publicist set this up, and it's like,
exactly right.
You know, but honestly, Brett, like I am so used to doing PR for brands.
Yeah. And
like knowing how to do that. When it comes to myself, I don't have a clue how to do PR for myself. Like I am like the most like, oh shit, what did I do?
Luckily you have
how do I help myself? And I'm like, I don't know how to, you know, figure this out. Like
Well, you've got a major network behind you. You've got Bravo's PR department helping you out with that.
Our publicist now is on the phone. Like, yeah, our publicist who's on like the, you know, silent treatment over here. She's probably like, oh boy.
She's just waiting on deck for us to say something.
Not with me. I won't let you do that. I won't let you guys get in trouble. So anyway, so I knew you guys separately in LA, but then you both left LA and went to New York. So what was kind of, I guess we'll start with Carl. Like, what was your story? Like, where'd you grow up? How'd you end up in LA? And then how'd you ultimately end up in New York?
I appreciate you asking that question because we don't get this question a lot.
I know. I care about life before Summer House. You
Yeah,
guys.
no, I love that. No, so I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My dream being in high school, I wanted to be like an ESPN news person or ESPN anchor. So I went, what my counselor said was the best school in the country for TV, film, and communications, which was Syracuse. I did look at NYU and some others, but I got lucky at Syracuse. I actually got a full scholarship for academics.
Amazing.
Got very lucky. I mean, I'm smart, but I'm not like full scholarship smart. But luckily, my religious background actually helped me qualify for. So I got really lucky to go to Syracuse. At Syracuse, I was like LA, but I definitely thought of New York. But I had done some modeling and acting in college, like in between the summers in New York. And I was like, you know what, I'm in LA. So I moved to LA. My first job was actually at the World of Wonder, which is a production company that produced the movie Party Monster.
Right.
They also did some other reality shows. So even behind the scenes, I was a runner at this production company. During the day, I would drop tapes off at Bravo. There was a producer that's still at Bravo now, this guy, Joseph Ferraro. Shout out if you're listening, Joseph. He was working at Bravo and also had a show that I guess this World of Wonder sold to Bravo. So like I now see him at things and he's like, he never thought I had long hair, looked like an Abercrombie kid.
Right.
So anyway, I had worked behind the scenes in LA for a while. I worked on CBS's Criminal Minds. I was a production assistant working 15-hour days. I literally looked around the room and I was like, okay, this person's in their mid-30s and they're not making much money, but they think they're going to be a producer one day. They think they're going to be a writer. And I was like, you know what? I don't have time. And I'm not that good at acting or modeling. So why don't I do something that I can make money? I got a job at this dental company, and that's where I met Nick.
Right.
A mutual friend that Brett knows Nick and his now wife, Audra, who's an actress and dancer. And, she's had some really cool stuff. Anyway, I fell into this sales thing and was really good at it. And then I moved myself to New York just because there was a better opportunity. So I lived in New York and I was making great money. I was going to the Hamptons, partying, being a total jackass. And that's where I met Kyle. I met Danielle. I knew of Lindsay. I didn't know her that personally. But I remember walking in the first production meeting or first meeting of the group for Summer House season 1.
You showed up the last. You were late.
I was late and sweating because I rode a city bike there. But I'll never forget walking in the room and just seeing Lindsay and the twins and Kyle. Everybody just looking at me
we're welcome.
Who's this dude? I mean, they knew me. We weren't super close.
Yeah, I didn't know Carl. I didn't ever even hear of you.
I remember looking at your Facebook because back, 2015, 2016 was Facebook was still a thing. Yeah. I remember looking at her Facebook and you had a blue dress on. I was like, who is this girl?
Should I put it back on?
The blue dress.
Do I still own it?
But yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things that for me, the camera I've always liked the camera. I've always, was on the news doing stuff. In college, we did a multi-camera class. I actually was an actor in it. Yeah. The camera, I wasn't afraid of. So when the show came about. So
interesting. I didn't even put this together until now. You and I both were behind the camera and that was our passion in life. And then wound up in front of the camera.
Well, that's why.
That's a train wreck to not put in front of the camera.
Well, that's why it was amazing. I remember when you guys posted the trailer for season 1. I was like, wait, is Lindsay doing PR for this show? And then I watched the trailer. I'm like, she's on the show? And then I was like, Carl's on the show? And I was like, what is this? And I couldn't wait to see it. I was like, wait, they are now going to be reality stars. But like you said, I knew you as working behind the scenes and doing great at that. So I didn't even think it was even an idea to one day be in front of the camera. And now looking back, it's so obvious.
I feel like most people move to LA to be in front of the camera. Both of us moved to LA to be behind the camera.
Right.
Back to New York to be in, and then all of a sudden wind up on accident in front of it.
Right. And that's kind of being in New York and being on TV is a lot different than I feel than being in LA and being on TV. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more concentration of people in LA, but here it's it's funny. If you're in finance or if you work at a cool fashion brand, that's the thing. Here, amongst our friends and people, they're like, oh, cool, it's you're on TV. But it's just interesting how people perceive you professionally here when you're on TV.
Yeah.
Versus when you're on TV in LA. People are kind of oh, you're on TV and you just fuck around. No, we actually have a career too, but the TV actually is a nice compliment.
Yeah, this is our side gig that.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
And then they're like, oh, so you work. And we're like, yeah, we work.
Yeah, exactly. The TV.
Oh no, wait. This meeting has been upgraded. Oh, you upgrade. Okay, never mind.
Okay, good. Wait, so Lindsay, you now, before we get into Summer House, which we will, let's hear your backstory, where you're from and how you ended up LA, New York.
Oh gosh. I grew up in Florida. I went to the University of Florida, majored in public relations, which competed with Syracuse. And yeah, so I actually was lucky enough to be one of those few chosen people that actually does what they major in. I moved to New York right after college, 3 days after graduating, wind up in New York, got a job right away at a boutique PR firm, was here in New York for a year, and then was like, oh my God, it's cold. I'm a Florida girl. And moved to LA. Wound up working at a top PR firm in LA, which was kind of a combination of, my experience interning and majoring and working in PR, but also she had lost her business partner, the owner of that PR firm.
Oh, right.
And lost all of her employees. And then I stepped in and was like, hey, I'm being told by everybody in the media I need to work for you. So here I am. And she's like, how about tonight? And I was like, okay, you're meeting me. So we wound up going to the brand new club that SBE had opened. Industry was the name of it back then. Do you remember Industry?
Of course. I remember every.
She, so I had just interviewed for her 3 hours earlier. Now I'm at the club trying to figure out what the Dancing with the Stars people are doing so I can pitch it to the media the next day. And, my boss basically was like, oh, this is Lindsay, our new hospitality girl. I was like, I look at my best friend, Brenda, and I was like, I think I got the job.
Brenda. Oh, I love Brenda.
Yeah. So then I wind up, working for that agency for 3.5 years, opening every single restaurant, bar, lounge, club, hotel in LA for 3.5 years.
You crushed it.
Brett Gursky, fist pumping on, multiple, couches of clubs.
Wait, you know what I think of though? I think of us hanging out after the clubs at Ben Savage's house.
I was gonna say, remember when we was Ben Savage? How is he?
He's doing great. He's doing great.
Oh my God!
Speaking of PR, he actually has a Panera campaign. Look it up. He and Danielle Fishel this week for Valentine's Day did a reunion, a Boy Meets World reunion for Panera flatbread pizza. So check it out. But yeah, we used to, after the clubs, because the clubs close at 2 in LA, it's not New York, you have to go to someone's house. So we would go to Ben Savage's house.
It was always me and Brett and Ben.
Yep.
For a period of 2 years, I think everyone thought you and I were dating because
I think so too. I definitely think so. I've said that to Carl in the past. I was like, if you ever need to write me into Summer House, you can use the Lindsay angle.
No, everyone I have to go back and look at all those photos because we probably just have so many after hours photos of just us at Ben's.
Yeah, exactly. We could talk about that for
the LA after party, because you're right. It does. I mean, it probably even closes at 1:30. They probably
well, the lights come on. Yeah, exactly. So wait, so now why'd you end up leaving LA to go back to New York?
Well, we got a lot of hospitality accounts in New York at the PR firm that I was working at and no one to run them. So my boss was all of a sudden shipping me back to New York every other week for the entire 2012. I spent 1 week LA, 1 week New York, 1 week LA, 1 week New York. And by October, 10 months later, I was like, I'm tired. I need a bed. And clearly there's no slowing down in New York. So I'm just going to move back to New York. You're in LA. I'll go run New York. And so I did. And 2 years after that, I left that agency. I felt like I hit my ceiling in every aspect and started my own agency. And then 2 years after that, wound up somehow on a reality TV show.
Yeah. Your agency, by the way, is Hub House, right?
Yeah. Carl's the cutest person in the world because I started Hub House PR, which was because that second agency. So I left Fingerprint, started my agency with an ex-boyfriend / professional chef in New York.
Okay.
And I had that agency for 2 years.
I remember, did you guys do Sundance dinners and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did that. I went to those. That's right.
Yeah, we
That's
spent
right.
a lot of time at Sundance together, you and me, Brett.
Well, I do want to add too. I know that if I get a Lindsay text that I'm at the cool place, if I'm in another city for either Super Bowl, Sundance, or Coachella, and I get the text.
It used to be the other way around completely.
Well, I feel like Brett, you've always got the cool shit too.
Well, but I would get the text saying like, are you in town? And if it's like, Houston for the Super Bowl or something, she'd be like, is there a Bootsy Bellows pop up I should know about? And sometimes I have to break the news and be like, sorry, I didn't go. But I'm like, I'll still get you in. I'll still send your name and get you in.
You always know if I'm in LA because I'm like, so what should I do? And
Exactly.
you're like, what? And I'm like, I'm in LA.
Yeah. No, the last time I saw Lindsay was Delilah in LA. We hung out at Delilah.
That was fun.
That was fun. And the last time I saw Carl in person was Isabel in LA.
Yeah.
So
that was a
restaurant.
I had done like an appearance on another show that I came to after that. That's still my Facebook picture from that night.
I know, I'm flattered by that. I mean, I got cropped out, but I'm flattered.
I was just saying, you're cropped out, actually.
I feel like I need to friend Carl on Facebook. I don't know if we're friends on Facebook.
That will finally solidify the friendship. As if living in the same building doesn't do it already.
Yeah.
Facebook.
I don't even like her photos anymore. I'll just come up to her apartment and go, I like that photo you posted today.
Oh yeah, you can knock on her door. I like your photo.
And I'm like, thank you so much. Do you want some food?
I was going to comment on your picture, but I'm just going to comment live.
The other day, I was like, Carl, I'm really craving popcorn. Do you have any popcorn? And he's like, come on down. And I was like, okay, thanks. And then he was like pulling out the bags. He gives me one bag and then he's like, you know what, just take two.
Dude, I don't want to deal with you again.
Right. It's like a college dorm all over again.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Co-ed.
But tell me, how did they find you guys for Summer House? So now you're both in New York and they find you for the show. Was there a casting call? Did someone recommend you? How did that happen?
I mean, listen, it's honestly, it was a group of friends. I think the way you can kind of look at it is, I mean, Kyle definitely was, connected with a lot of our friends. He knew some of the girls. I mean, Kyle is kind of one of the ones that I think it started with. He obviously had relationships with Everett at the time, and Everett and Lindsay were friendly and starting to date.
That's right.
It was an organic gathering. I mean, I was probably the most random, truthfully. I mean, I knew Kyle and Everett a little bit. But I was kind of taking a chance on just the group of friends. I didn't, I wasn't as fully integrated as everybody else, but yeah, I mean, it was an organic thing. I mean, just like summer houses are, like you kind of last minute can get a random person or
Well, they also just like, they were developing the show about a group of friends who, works hard in the city and then goes to the Hamptons on the weekends during the summer. And all of a sudden they fell into our group of friends. And I remember they maybe casted Kyle and Kyle's like, just come meet our friends. There's 100 of us. And so they came to one of our huge group parties before pre-COVID. And they started just picking people. And we have always gone to the Hamptons, in the history of us living in New York, we've always every summer gone to the Hamptons and have met each other, organically through sharing a house together. So, then it becomes friends of friends. And that's how we became this group. And they were just like, oh shit, we just hit the jackpot. This
They really did. They really did.
People are nuts and there's 100 of them to choose from.
It's true.
They wound up choosing, the original group. And then, from
it would
there,
change over time.
Yeah, I mean, it follows just like any other normal house. I mean,
but that original group, had anyone actually ever shared a summer house together, or season one was the first time?
No, I actually was in Kyle Cook's summer house.
Oh yeah,
I was in Kyle Cook's summer house Memorial Day weekend of 2014.
Okay.
And I was out in the Hamptons. I actually stayed in Montauk that entire summer before I started before I started Indulgence.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So I was in Montauk and would see everyone at Gurney's, whatever. But I did share Memorial Day weekend with Kyle.
Yeah, I did. I was just say I did 2 summers prior.
Everett, right?
I met Everett.
Yeah.
But then I had apparently drunkenly made out or talked to Lauren Workus. And when we started the season 1,
that explains a lot now.
I kind of remembered her, but didn't remember her. But we had old photos from very intoxicated night in the Hamptons the previous summer.
Wow.
But I had been doing it, but kind of ran with a little bit different group of friends, but clearly knew Everett and something like his foundation, Heal Our Heroes. I'd met some folks through that, getting involved. The rest is history.
I think that's the thing. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey. I think if you grow up in New York or New Jersey, you hear about summer houses, like growing up, that's groups of friends go out on the weekend. And it's like, well, I thought what was so cool about the original concept, you know, was that you did have these real jobs Monday to Friday. Then Friday night to Sunday, it's such a short little window, but you get all your partying out and they're filming you guys the whole time. And then, you know, Sunday you go back, it's like, you know, Cinderella turns back into a pumpkin or whatever it was. But
well, I probably looked like a pumpkin on Monday morning.
No, but you have to go back to work and you have to, you know, make money again and the real hustle. And this summer house thing is just kind of this like weekend release of partying, you know. So I think it's a cool concept. And you're not, like you said, you weren't trust fund kids who party all the time. You had real jobs and this was your weekend getaway.
Yeah.
So now
we're able to afford like the fruits of our labor is, you know, you bust your butt and then you can go to Gurney's or go to the nice dinners or have a big party.
Right. Exactly. So for season 5, it changed because of the pandemic and because of quarantine. All of a sudden they tell you guys, I remember Carl and I talked at the beginning of the quarantine about movie projects and trying to do stuff after. And you were like, I think they're going to try to do a season 5 during this. And I was like, well, how's that going to work? You can't, you know, go back and forth. You're like, they're just going to put us in the house and keep us there the whole time. So when you guys heard that season 5 was just going to be in the house 6-7 weeks, can't leave, no one could come in or out, what was your reaction to that?
I mean, I was personally excited because, listen, I don't know what I'd do literally without having them around for the summer. Like I would be in the Hamptons regardless, but also the fact that, you know, I think at that point we were locked up in our apartments or houses.
Yeah.
COVID was ravishing everything. It was just like a weird time. So why wouldn't I want to get in a house with all my best friends and be in a new place in the Hamptons? You know, we had a new house this summer, which was very cool and very different really for us. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think very quickly after like a week or two, you were like, okay, we can't really go anywhere. No guests. You know, it was a pressure cooker in a lot.
Wow. Speaking of pressure cookers.
Talk about pressure cooker. Sorry about that. Our ring light died on us.
That's okay.
Oh, don't worry. That's always like.
All right, sorry, Brett.
It's all good. And so, Lindsay, what was your reaction when you heard they're putting us in the house and we can't leave? You have to do your job from the house, basically.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I think to echo Carl, you're in New York City in these small shoebox apartments, and you know, since COVID hit in March, by July you're like, okay, like
let's get out of
here. And then you know, we're talking about like most of the time we spent COVID by ourselves. So now you get to like quarantine with your friends in a huge mansion in, you know, the Hamptons. So like, of course, that's like you're like, thank God we're able to do this year. Yeah. But at the same time, you're like, holy shit, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of togetherness. Yeah. You know, so it's like, it was like a constant like pro and con. Like pro, you don't have to travel back and forth on the weekends for 3 hours on a Friday and 3 hours on a Sunday. Plus.
That was actually huge because I don't think people would truly understand. I mean, I previous to Summer House, I had done 10 weekends in a row in the Hamptons, but I actually like stayed out there for a little bit longer during just the not going back and forth. I thought was huge because those Sundays were brutal. I mean,
also like you're going on a Friday and that's when there's the most traffic.
And sometimes
trained from 3.5 hours to like 5 hours sometimes. And it gives you, traffic just gives you anxiety, just no matter what. Being stuck in a car for maybe 4 to 5 hours gives you so much anxiety. And then you have to go film. Right. So you're like walking in with anxiety. And that's why I'm always like, I need a glass of rosé.
Right. Immediately walk in and start drinking.
First thing she does.
Yeah, it's like every Friday.
I'm going straight for the rosé.
For the rosé.
That actually makes sense. Now we understand why you guys walk into the house and start drinking immediately.
Or as I've done in the past, start drinking before I get there.
Right.
Yeah, traffic gives you a lot of anxiety. So it was a pro not having to deal with that on a Friday and then back to the city on a Sunday.
So that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is a con that you're kind of like filming around the clock, and
Yeah.
and you know, typically, like if I get in a fight with Carl, for instance, we don't fight often.
Oh, yeah, every once in a while.
If I get who me? If I get in a fight with Carl, right? I can at least come back to the city, take a deep breath,
Right.
thoughts, gather myself, and then go have a conversation with him a couple of days later, back at the summer house on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If I get in a fight with Carl, like this past summer, there is no escape, and you have to like work through your issue sooner and quicker, because not only are you like running into that person all the time under the same roof, but like you're also affecting the vibe of the rest of the house.
Yeah.
Because they're under the same roof and there's tension.
Interesting.
Well, I was just saying, Brett, too, the other thing that makes our show so unique, and you obviously understand the TV world, but like most other shows, specifically even Bravo too, I mean, like those groups, they'll film a dinner, they'll get in their argument, and then they go home and sleep in their own bed.
Right. No, none of them live together.
Like she said, I mean, even this summer where we're all together, I mean, like you have to deal with it the next day. You know, you're going to see someone in the kitchen getting breakfast. You're going to see someone, you know, working out by the pool or whatever. And it's, if you don't resolve it very quickly, it's very toxic.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see this season. I mean, there's definitely some heated exchanges, and that toxic nature when you're full time during the week, it's a lot. It wears on you mentally. And there just wasn't a lot of distraction, and you're just there with work and your arguments.
Yeah. And no visitors too. I mean, that's a very big difference.
We couldn't even have like, you know, half the time we couldn't even have people like someone to fix something. We had to like go into our rooms and hide in there while they were fixing stuff. Or
wow.
I mean, I get it. We had to be very careful, and our production, we did an amazing job being safe.
Of course.
Yeah, everyone had safety at the number one priority, and it was like, you know, if we got a UPS or FedEx delivery, we would always put a mask on, go greet the delivery person, get the packages, whatever. I think like Carl and I especially are both like pretty athletic people and like need to release some tension by exercise. So like for me personally, and I think for Carl too, but for me, I would like go on runs as my form of exercise, just as my like escape. I was like, let me just like get out. This is my one opportunity of the day to just go clear my mind away from anyone else. And like, so we would go on runs. Like,
I think everybody had like a different run, just something to get out of the property.
Yeah, we all did.
Right. Or walked or whatever.
Yeah, you, me, Kyle, and Luke always went on runs, but like it was at different points in time. Because
do you have a camera guy? Do you have a camera guy running behind you, or they leave you alone?
That was nice. But you know who didn't leave us alone is there was. I mean, we're very lucky we have such amazing fans and people that watch and follow us on social. But we do have a level of people that are like, I don't know, they like almost stalk you. I mean, I was running 2 different times and had people yell out the window, Carl.
Oh, well, you're also like very noticeable. You're 6'5", you're a handsome guy without being on TV. And then you add the fact that you're on TV and you're just like obvious.
Yeah, I was just like, trying to get my run in and like avoid all the drama. And then I'm getting yelled at by a fan.
I can fly under the radar. The biggest
not looking like this today, though. She cannot fly under the radar. Watch out.
She stepped it up for my podcast. I really appreciate it.
I did.
I can't wait till this Instagram post.
Yeah, what do you have to come up with your comment now? It's gonna be like fire, 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 and then people are gonna be like, "Are they dating again?"
Exactly. Oh, you said again. Interesting. Wait, we're gonna get into the details of season 5 in a second, but I thought what would be best would be to do a quick recap of the first 4 seasons of Summer House, take you down memory lane, and you guys can share maybe some anecdotes from the beginning. So season 1 documented the summer of 2016, right? That was that first summer. Yeah. And it aired in January 2017. So like I said, you know, these promos came out and I couldn't believe you guys were the stars of the show and not just working on it like producer and publicist. And so I was so excited to see it. I watched it and you guys crushed it right from the beginning. I knew you guys were going to be like the breakout stars. So that original cast was Carl, Lindsay, Kyle Cook, who's still on the show, and then all people who are no longer on it. Everett, who was Lindsay's boyfriend at the time. Christina was Lindsay's roommate. Right. Did she live in LA with you too, or no? Was she from LA?
I met her originally in LA when I lived there. She was in media.
Okay, she seemed familiar, right, when I was watching it. And then Steven, Jacqueline, and the Workus twins, Lauren and Ashley. And Lauren and Carl were a big storyline those first few seasons.
The biggest.
Yeah, and and they, they made the first episode kind of like a spin-off of Vanderpump Rules. People might not realize they had the Workus twins invite their friend Stassi from Vanderpump Rules to the Hamptons, and then we meet this new group of friends that lives in a house. It was actually a cool way to introduce the show to, the Vanderpump audience. So what do you guys remember most about season 1 when you look back on it now, knowing everything you know now?
Okay, well, I can tell you what I remember most about Carl.
Okay.
He can respond with the same.
Okay.
I remember Carl breaking the bed.
Yep.
I remember Carl brushing his teeth with a hairbrush.
Classic.
And I just remember Carl always being my biggest fan.
Nice.
Like he just was like such a great support system before he was actually my support system. He was doing it like behind the scenes for me before we actually like connected as like real good friends.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. It was very nice. I was going to say like one distinct memory, and Lindsay and I used to smoke cigarettes occasionally.
Wow.
Season 1. We would like, that was like our getaway from like Parliament Lights. She had a little back balcony that we were away from camera and everything.
I don't remember either of you smoking.
There and like, we would like bitch and moan and be like, fuck, this is, because it was hard. I mean, we walked in blind to what we were really signing up for.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously we all wanted to make it work, but it's also just, it's
stressful.
It's stressful. It's, there's just a lot going on. And plus, I think we were all learning to adjust to like, just how to like live with cameras coming around you and just feeling less, I don't know, some of it's uncomfortable, but you get more used to it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories of Lindsay, well, I mean, obviously her and Everett's relationship was very front and center.
Yeah.
I give her a lot of credit because she was actually the first couple ever in the summer house.
Yes.
And
house couple.
That pressure of just, I think, everybody asking you all about your life, what, you dating, are you moving in together, are you, all this stuff. So I give her a ton of credit because she actually paved the way for like what that relationship stuff can be like. And, it's very hard. So I give her a lot of credit for that. But
Lindsay walked so Kyle and Amanda could run.
Exactly.
Yeah, learn from my mistakes.
But Lindsay's Hub House Hoedown birthday, it was in Montauk at Rick's Krabby Cowboys. One of the few times we filmed in Montauk.
Right.
It was an epic birthday. I mean, I brought two friends of mine from LA, which caused a huge scene. I can honestly say it was a crazy situation. But they were like, "Hey, let's do something weird." I was like, "I'll invite some friends," and that obviously brought up. I didn't mean to ruin.
Brought up a lot of drama, but you know what? At least your drama solidified my 30th birthday being on TV.
That's right.
It might have been cut if you didn't bring the drama.
Right. You made it usable footage. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah, exactly.
Hub's Hoedown was.
So I can now forever remember my 30th.
Exactly. You have it documented. I always think actually.
I wasn't in it, as much as Carl was.
Right. But it helped make you guys. It helped make sure that you guys were the breakouts that first season.
I mean, but that's what's so funny. You just, you live your life. Obviously, there's certain things you'd love to have on camera if you can, like your birthday is a great moment, or someone visiting from your family or friends or something. But like, you just don't really know what you're doing these weekends and hang out with your friends. You just forget and not really sure what's going to make it. Right. And that's what's such an interesting part of being on this program. It's you just don't know what's ultimately
what's gonna make
the show.
Right. I always think that the first season of any reality show is a lot of times the most authentic because the people don't know how they're being edited yet or how they're being perceived by the public. So people are really just themselves that first season. And then, you come back for future seasons and, they'll use that if I do that, or I don't want to be seen as the villain or the bad guy, or,
I still don't know what they're going to do.
I still don't know either. I will say, like, I think between like me and Carl, we are just still authentic and we're like,
you guys are
Bambi with like a deer in the headlights of like, I don't know what's happening. I just can't help, but this is how I feel. And this is who I am as a person. And I will give ourselves credit for like being authentic and true to ourselves, because I think like once you are that, like no one can really fuck with that.
Well, you can quickly tell, I mean, not to throw others in the past that have been on our show, but like others haven't made it and didn't fit in as well because they weren't as open or vulnerable or willing to participate like me and Lindsay and Kyle have. And that's, I don't know, part of what's I think helped us is like, like we're worried about people hating us or liking us at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But like,
And they do.
But we weren't being fake in our approach. We were just living our life and like really trying to navigate it the best we can while cameras are rolling. So I think for us is that there's just an authentic feeling. Others in the past haven't been authentic, and it's very easy to see. And they're basically fake. And like, no one wants to watch someone pretend to be someone who they are or pretend that they have a certain way of life.
Viewers are very smart. Like they can like see through when somebody's not being authentic. Like they can see right through it and like pinpoint what's actually happening. Like viewers are intelligent.
Yeah. No, I also think because, Lindsay has Hub House Monday through Friday, and Carl has Lover Boy and stuff. You guys have other things going on that your whole life doesn't depend on this show. So you don't, you can be yourselves and then you still have your careers to go back to. So it's kind of like...
We'd like to think that we have a career left after.
I think you do. Well, so when
risky at first, but making it this far, I think now it turns it around. It legitimizes it a little bit.
Right.
I think those first 2 years we were kind of like, did we make a terrible decision?
Wait, so when season 1 first aired, and you guys saw it,
back and we're like, okay.
Yeah, but when you first saw season 1, were you like, what have we gotten ourselves into, or were you happy with how it turned out?
I mean, it's a blur. I mean,
yeah.
I just remember thinking
we're here now.
I mean, I definitely was probably one of the more villain type people on season 1.
I was too, though.
For obvious reasons, but it didn't really hit me until the second season when like real life was on display, like real personal things, whether it was your job.
Yeah.
Like it got way more personal, I feel like, after the first season.
Right.
And that's like it just makes it very hard and vulnerable when you're that open in public. But it certainly, I think, helped us as a show because you have a lot of real things going on.
Well, I knew the show was popular after season 1 because Carl was in LA and we went to dinner at the Nice Guy, and people at another table, like a guy and a girl, were on a date or boyfriend, girlfriend, and they came over and they were like, "Can we get a picture with you?" to Carl, and I was like, "Oh, it's working."
Yeah, Brett was excited to see that. I was like,
that's after season 1.
Even after, I mean, we get it a lot, but like in the last, I mean, obviously with COVID, it's different, but in the last 2 years, I mean, it's weird. Like I can't go to certain places in New York, or couldn't before COVID, because it's annoying. Like you get harassed the whole time, and like, yeah, it's fun to get pictures and
telling you,
but there's certain places in New York I cannot go.
No, like Carl just like, he gets it so bad. Like girls are very bold, especially when they're drunk.
Yeah.
And they love to approach a nice, handsome, tall, beautiful personality guy. And they, they get real bold with Carl. And it's just like, there's times when we're just like, okay, we have to come up with an escape plan for him because like he, the girls are starting to swarm around and yeah, it gets intense. But I actually miss those days.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like a lot of people might like that.
We miss those days. Now we just run into people in our elevator.
Right, exactly. So then season 2, you guys get asked back, and that chronicles the summer of 2017. That aired January 2018. Revamped the cast a little bit. Carl and Lindsay, of course, stayed. Kyle stayed. Kyle's girlfriend Amanda moved in. Also Danielle moved in. Amit moved in. Stephen and Lauren were back. So when people didn't come back, was that their decision? Was that the producer's decision? Were they still trying to figure out the show season 2? Like, how did that feel when you guys got asked back and not everybody else did?
I mean, well, Everett and I had broken up, and it would make sense, like, for him and I to be in the same summer house, like, after we're broken up, right?
Right. Although it would have been dramatic. It would have been dramatic, but they didn't want to do that to you.
Well, he
ends up coming back.
He did come back.
Right. That's true.
Christina, I think, had sort of made her bed with everyone season 1.
Okay.
And it didn't make sense for her to come back because
I think it's a combination of like how you're fitting in with the group, and like at that point in time. I mean, listen, everybody's interest in wanting to participate and like being open and being opinionated is a big part of being in this group of friends. Is like, if you're not participating or wanting to show up or wanting to be there, like it's very obvious. And I think at certain points, Christina didn't really want to be there, whether it was hard or not. And then I think even others, like Everett, I think he probably wanted to focus more on his job and his career and the foundation. Like the show can be very hard for some.
Totally.
We love Everett, don't get me wrong, but
we're still like really good friends with Everett.
Yeah,
I just think some people you just learn after a year, like, I'm not sure if you're gonna just fit in. You're not really wanting to participate. You'd rather do other things.
Right. It's interesting because
that's normal. That's natural, right? Like people like, kind of take their own journeys in different directions in life. And like, you can't always get the same summer house for like as long as the same people around you all the time. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, even like season 2, like Amit, for example, like
who?
Amit, you made out with him, or he lied about it.
I mean, that's what I was trying to say to him, and he just tried to pretend.
You should have owned that. I met Amit.
I was like, what the?
I met Amit at Coachella.
Sorry, can I get a glass of wine?
Sure.
Am I allowed?
Yes.
Of course.
I met Amit at Coachella, and this is after the first season had aired.
Right.
I was at Coachella, and like honestly, at Coachella, I was with the twins, Workus twins. I ran into some Vanderpump people.
Mm.
She was more friendly with them. And like, I will say, being a new like person on TV, Ariana and Tom, we ran into, and we actually saw Sheena. I was like, it was addicting being at a festival, and like hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of 3 days, like came up to me and wanted pictures. We got into every party, we're doing all the cool stuff. Amit was with my house that I was staying at and saw all this going on.
Oh yeah.
He was like, dude, all these chicks and people are coming up to you. You are getting invited places. And I literally kind of made a joke. I was like, hey man, like we have maybe some room in this summer. And he was like all hot on like being there and wanting to come and be single and be fun. And I think what a lot of other realize is like when you walk into our house or you walk into starting of filming, how intense it is.
Right.
And just being able to like be yourself. And Amit, once the cameras came on and it was asked of him to be open-minded, be opinionated,
he can
go more free, have a couple drinks and kiss Lindsay and have fun. And he just wasn't able to kind of.
I feel like I'm a great kisser. Own it.
So it's stuff like that it's hard. You introduce someone, you try to bring them in the fold, and it just doesn't work out because I think it's a lot to give your life up to. And he was just afraid of.
I mean, it was also like a modern day gypsy. Like you never know where he's at, when he's at, why he's at.
Right.
But one of my
is he in Tulum or is he in Israel or like is he in New York?
Right.
I think season 2 though.
Does he have an apartment? He lives on Carl's couch for like 3 months.
Interesting.
I was just saying, like season 2 is definitely one of those seasons where I think it was like a make or break season for us as a group. We were kind of like, if it goes really terribly this year, we're kind of in trouble. I don't know. We were always kind of like, just not sure where we stood as like, does Bravo even like us? Are we the redheaded stepchild?
No, but that's what I meant, that it just kept getting bigger every year. So it's like you didn't know at the beginning.
We didn't know, but I think the core of us, Lindsay, Kyle, and myself, you can throw Amanda in that as well. I mean, she's been a big part of the show, no doubt, but having us to like kind of rely on each other, we've always, I don't know, anything goes down, like us three are typically talking. And like, I think we bring a lot that's not typically shown on camera, from an energy, organization, getting people excited, being easy to deal with.
Yeah. You guys have been there since day one. And season 2 is when Lindsay passed the torch to Kyle and Amanda as house couple. She was like, no more. I'm not doing this again. Gave it to them. And also that was the year with the July 4th party where Carl got a cake in his face by Lauren. That was a big TV moment. Walks up to him with the cake and just smashes it in his face. You were kind of in a love triangle with Lauren and Danielle that summer. But I feel like you don't, the next summer, season 3, you went into it, you're like, I am not hooking up with people in the house, right?
I mean, listen, I'm a guy. I've said that going in. I mean, yes, I think what Lindsay hinted at is just like being on full display with a relationship and or hooking up with someone in the house it was just bad news, especially when you, and at that point in time in my life, I was being a jackass. I was talking to multiple girls. I was playing more games than I should have, and honestly didn't know that I would get called out on TV for. I thought.
Well, you know what? Those things that you were doing, most people do, but you could get away with it in real life. When you have cameras filming it, cameras and a TV show make that behavior very different.
But it actually was good for me in a lot of ways, and it helped. I mean, I had to like grow up a little bit, and I'm still in a process, but. That second summer was a lot because I was definitely in the middle of like Lauren. Obviously, Danielle was new and we had a history. Mm-hmm. My own just personal shit. I mean, it was a lot. It was my toughest season, other than maybe this past season for different reasons. But
right.
Well, by season 3, you were dating some chick named Lindsay. And I was like, can you at least find somebody with a different name? Like,
Right.
this
I
is
forgot
confusing
about
even for
Lindsay.
me.
Right. Exactly. Well, season
Like, they
3.
just knew her as like the girl who wore like lipstick. I was like, I don't even know how to explain this.
Lipstick
Like,
girl.
and like whenever Carl would say Lindsay, I'm like, me, Lindsay, or like the other one that you're dating right now.
Right.
And then they wound up with Kirsten. And then they wound up breaking up. And then season 4.
Well, let's stick with season 3 for 1 second. Season 3 documented summer 2018, aired March 2019. That cast, of course, Carl and Lindsay and Kyle come back. Amanda comes back. Danielle comes back. Now they found 3 newcomers. So I wanted to ask about that. So this is when they kind of like bring in some new faces. It was Hannah Berner, Paige DeSorbo, and Jordan. And did anyone know? Did anyone know the 3 of them before the show, or was that the producers? Like, it felt to me a little bit like they were discovered on Instagram and like put onto Summer House.
No, we knew them.
You did?
I was interviewed at Betches the year before with Steven, and Hannah was our host. Like, she interviewed me she knew us. And I was like, Hannah, okay, like, she has a personality. And she actually made fun of me about being on the show in the interview.
Oh, wow.
I saw her later, but Hannah and Paige were very close at Betches.
With each other, right.
Jordan also worked at Betches. They were all there. Paige wasn't there yet, and Jordan wasn't there yet. But we were all loosely, through that Betches world was pretty close to us at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Stephen McGee, season 1 and season 2, was also friendly with Hannah. And I think he kind of introduced her to some of us. And that's how it felt. Stephen didn't end up being a part of it.
Yeah. Well, Hannah's funny. Hannah brought some good comedy to the show. She's a stand-up comic. She's a podcaster. Paige is very cool and cute. She's a fashion blogger, Instagram influencer. So it kind of brought new life into the show. And
it brought younger life into the show.
It brought some younger life, yeah.
Lindsay, Kyle, and I are in our 30s. Danielle as well. So even Amanda, Amanda's the youngest of that, but it was nice for Amanda, I think, to have some other cohorts that were her same age.
Right.
I have to pee really badly. Give me 1 second.
No, you take your time.
Well, I'll ask Lindsay. So Lindsay, season 3.
I'm here.
Season 3 is when you reconnected with Everett. Was that something they came to you and they're like, can we film this? Is this okay? Or was it what was happening in your real life? So you just kind of went with it?
No. They don't ask me if they can. I brought Everett back to the house on 4th of July, weekend, because he happened to be in the Hamptons, and I ran into him, and Everett was really hard for me to let go of. I would say out of probably all my boyfriends, I loved him the absolute most.
Wow.
And even though we had a very tumultuous relationship of ups and downs, there was a huge foundation of friendship before we ever started dating. We were friends for 2.5, 3 years before we ever got romantic. So I just couldn't quit the guy. And when I ran into him during season 3 out in the Hamptons, 4th of July, we were drunk. And then I was like, oh, let's just go back to my house. And that's how it normally goes, except for I have cameras at my house. And so that's how that.
Well, do you feel like viewers are rooting for you to find love? Because it's such a through line every season that, Lindsay finding love. Do you feel any kind of?
I really do think viewers are looking for me to find love. And I also think my exes are too, Everett, Everett and I still have a really good relationship he has a girlfriend. They live in Charleston. His girlfriend.
I used to date Everett's current.
No. Oh my God.
He went to Syracuse.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love Courtney.
We love them. So we even have a group chat of the 4 of us.
Wow. That's really interesting.
It's very close. It's the circle of friends. We do have a good network of friends here in New York, but it's funny. I think there's a lot of group of friends that have probably gotten
a lot of people would be like, yeah, this is incestuous. But at the end of the day, when you have a foundation of friendship before the romance happens or anything intimate might happen, you always sort of fall back to that foundation of friendship. And that's what keeps you strong, So I think for us, we're just whatever. Oh, that one time this accidentally happened, no problem. But, so for and it took a while with Everett. It took me a year of basically not talking to him, getting over it, and vice versa. And then finally he wound up coming season 4 to our Labor Day party.
That's right.
And him and his girlfriend came, and we just had the best time ever. And like, it was just like normal. It was just normal. Yeah. You know?
Well, I think what's cool is that both of you seem to stay friends with exes, which is admirable.
Try to.
Most.
Yeah.
Not all.
Some.
If you can, I think that's usually the best policy, but sometimes it's just easier to cut the cord and never talk to them again.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carl, I want to ask you about season 3. So explain to people.
Can I go now?
Yeah, go for it. Carl, explain the pantry in season 3. Explain.
Honestly, this is a secret. Number one, the pantry was loaded with food and snacks and like alcohol.
Right.
And there was unlimited stuff in there. Like, certain companies would send us stuff, some friends, people we had friendships with brands, and so honestly, we would go in there and snack.
Were there no cameras in there? That's what I was thinking.
There was no cameras in there. And that was the main reason Paige and I went in there. I think just being sneaky and just not wanting to like answer to anybody if we were seen making out.
Right.
So that was really what it was. It was just like, we go in there and make out and like eat snacks and talk. It just kind of took on a life of its own. I never listen, when we did that while filming, I never thought twice about the pantry.
Right.
Being like a thing, but this season on this season 5, there is a new pantry, but it's much smaller and not as exciting. So,
well, also I felt like season 3 they did not have a camera in the pantry, but I felt like they changed the style of the show a little bit. Is that season 3 when they started like doing all the split screens, showing all the rooms at once?
Yeah, they've done more of like
night vision.
Kind of modified some of it, and they definitely added a camera to the pantry in season 3.
Right, because if you're going to use it, they need to film.
And then I think they actually tried. I think there was a camera in this year's pantry, but no one really explored it.
But when you saw season 3 and you saw that now they were split screening and showing night vision of every bedroom at once, what's happening simultaneously? Were you like, oh my God, they were filming everything?
I mean, yeah, I think when we first went at the beginning, I mean, yeah, we knew there were cameras in the rooms. We thought that was more just to like understand what was going on, not necessarily use it.
Right.
So that's our shows. There's no show on TV I've watched like a lot of shows now, and there's nothing like our show because of the cameras in the room and what they use to drive the story. Because there's no other show that has that in the kind of format we do. I mean, yeah, there's Big Brother and Real World, but it's not the same.
Right. It's like the only show on Bravo, at least, that shows like what goes on in people's bedrooms with the lights off.
Yeah, like
after hours.
Pillow talking. I mean, season 5, the premiere, they show me farting. I mean, the morning wood, the arguments, just looking like shit, hungover. You name it. It's all captured.
Yeah, Lindsay, I was saying that season 3 is when they started doing all the split screens and showing every bedroom and what was going on at the same time in every bedroom. And
it's the best parts.
I think that took the show to a whole other level because all of a sudden it wasn't just one room at a time. Now you were watching the whole summer house at once. Technically,
I mean, it's like you like the best, almost like the best commentary or gossip happens like when you think no one's watching, but a camera is watching you.
Right.
And like catching all of this like talk and make out and whatever happens when no one else is around and you think you're by yourself, but you're actually not.
Exactly.
And like we would come back from, I can't speak for anyone else, but I would come back from the weekends and wake up on Monday mornings in my apartment and like wake up in bed and be like, where are the cameras?
Right.
Where is it pointing? Where is it pointing? Is it pointing at me? Like, because you're just like,
or you feel like you wear the microphones and you like feel like you can feel it on your hip or your chest, wherever it's,
like clip.
And I'd be like in the morning, be like,
I lost my microphone. I lost my microphone. That's thousands of dollars that I have to pay because I lost it.
I lost a few.
Or
you jump in the pool with it?
Well, Hannah jumped in. I had one lost in the pool this year, but I literally just forgot I had my mic on and went out in town in the Hamptons. I went out to Montauk and I was yelled at, like, if you lose this, you're paying for it. I mean, they're expensive, they're little devices, but you would know.
They're
right?
like $2,500.
Right. It's just the fact that you guys are being filmed and recorded. Everything you say, everything you do. It's pretty wild what you say.
Yeah, and like you have muscle memory, right? So like you wake up in the city when you're not on camera, from the weekend, and you're just like, where is the camera pointing in the corner? And
Yeah.
then you're also like looking for your microphone and like, like holy shit. And it's just like, it's, and then it takes a while to like get out of that habit.
Right.
But it's fun. It's
Yeah.
like,
it's cool.
There's sometimes now that I wake up and I'm like,
Yeah. It's PTSD.
what did I do?
Right, exactly. Well, the last thing I'll say about season 3 is that Carl, season 3 is where there is somewhere a Brett Gursky deleted scene from Summer House.
Yeah, we were talking about a film project that he's working on.
Carl and I had a FaceTime meeting about a movie, and he asked if they could record it for the show. So I was like, sure. So he's in the house, I was on my roof, and we like had a whole meeting that I'm back in my head. I'm like, this is being filmed for Bravo. This could be used. And it ultimately wasn't. I guess, they don't really talk about Carl as a movie producer.
They don't talk about
on the show
stuff, which is interesting because I did a screening for the film that I'm involved with, Silo.
Yeah.
In New York at a bar that I also was an investor in. And the screening was right before the start of filming of season 2. Then later they were like, oh, we'll film at that bar. It was actually after the gay pride parade, we filmed at that same bar.
Right.
I always was trying to like show like, hey, like I do have other things besides the sales stuff. Sales is what bills, but I am passionate about film and TV. It's been hard. I think Bravo has a hard time crossing over from like reality, this New York person, to like, oh, why all of a sudden is he doing production and music?
Yeah. But people who know you know that that's what you're really about.
Even in 2016, I was at Tribeca Film Festival with the producers for the short film that I was the executive producer of.
Yeah.
And literally it was like, people were like, wait, are you like, why are you here?
Right.
It's just weird worlds to kind of cross, but it's actually kind of fun. It gives me like an alter ego.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think that's what is hard to understand, but beautiful when you do understand about Carl is like, he has his hands in different pots. He like is involved with so many different things, which makes him very dynamic as a person and making money in different ways that like you can't necessarily fully explain because you can't see it.
Yeah.
The fact that he does invest in films and invests in bars and, is this like kick-ass like salesman for whatever he's selling. Like he could be selling windows to me and I already have like 15 million windows in my apartment, but I want more because Carl's selling.
I got the best windows.
I love it. Look at the Lindsay doing Carl's PR right now.
No, I mean, I've always been,
she's
a pro. She's a pro. Well, our scene ended up on the cutting room floor. It exists somewhere. Maybe one day we could see our meeting, but it did not make the show. I was cut.
We want to do an episode of all the deleted scenes that like the cast can edit together.
I want you guys to do a Summer House. No, you guys have to do a Summer House Goes to LA like special.
We would love that.
We have to do that.
We need like a spring house.
Right. Malibu house. Exactly.
Malibu house.
Yeah. There's so much footage. I know. Think about it, right? Like you have like, your everyday weekend like nonsense that we get involved with, plus like the surveillance cameras, plus, it's just like a lot.
Yep.
A lot. So like things are bound to be cut.
It's okay. I can deal with it.
Sorry, Brett.
It's okay. But at least I know I was this close.
It wasn't you, it was us.
Right. It was cut for time. Season 4 documented summer 2019, and here's what's so cool about season 4. It aired February 2020 to May 2020 when people were quarantined, and I think that's part of why the show is bigger than ever, because quarantine gave people a chance to go back to season 1 and watch it all the way through, and I think you built this whole new fan base during quarantine.
Totally, but we had also hit our stride. We hit our stride production-wise, cast-wise.
I agree. Season 4 is my favorite cast of the first 4 seasons, for sure.
And, it's like what people don't fully realize is that, like, there is, beyond the cast, there is a whole crew of people.
Yeah.
40 plus people that, like, it's about trust. And it's about the cast trusting the crew trusting the cast. And we're so lucky that, now in season 5, we've had the same crew.
We've had the same crew for the last 3 seasons.
Seasons.
And that
So
it's almost like having the same head coach for like a championship.
Right. So then it's like a family kind of.
Exactly. And we've had, like she said, we hit our stride because I think the OGs were working well with the, this production team we've had. And then the newbies, we've been able to kind of corral and bring them in. So it's been a team effort, like she said.
Season 4.
It is like a football team. It's like all the coaches and all of the players.
Yeah.
And like you have to it really does take both to like come together and mesh well. And the fact that we've had the same crew and production and producers for the last 3 years is huge for us because we're more comfortable just like being our natural selves in our natural environment.
Yeah.
And like,
I was gonna say it's a testament to us too that these producers who they have to give up their weekends. Like our show is very unique in the sense that most of the production team lives in New York City, but then they have to go to the Hamptons every weekend.
Right.
So these folks are giving up their weekends, their lives. I mean, we've had several people that have families and children, and they're willing.
Small children.
They see what we're doing as a program and a network that they want to be a part of it, and that also shows why they've come back for 3 seasons because we're great to work with. It's a great opportunity for them in their career. So it's been cool to see like if the production team's changing every year, that's not a good sign.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's multiple shows.
Yeah, because the cast is tough to deal with, or it's a tough shoot, or it's very long out, or whatever it might be.
Well, I would say season 4, the cast to me was the best combination. Obviously, Carl and Lindsay, Kyle and Amanda, Hannah and Paige back. The new girl was Jules. The new guy was Luke. I think the addition of Luke with Hannah was a good storyline. And of course, the main storyline of season 4, Carl and Lindsay. Can they be more than friends? And it was like the Ross and Rachel all of a sudden, like, are these two more than friends? And did you guys know going into season 4 that was going to dominate the season?
Not at all. Zero. I can honestly say going into that summer, I was like, we're friends. We're very close friends. Yeah, we had our little thing. Like, yeah, we hooked up. It was a flash in the pan. I told Kyle. I swear to God, to this day, I never thought Kyle would bring that up on camera. So I think going into the summer is like, okay, Lindsay's single, I'm single, but now it's out in the air. And you know what? Yeah, I was like,
Lindsay's speechless right now, which never happened.
I love Lindsay, and let's explore it. Fuck it, let's go for it.
We basically found ourselves single at the same exact time, and we were like, well, you're always told like to like date, marry your best friend. So we were like, oh, well, and like everyone, like no matter what happened on Instagram, like, and I think this is a big part of it too, is like, you're almost like peer pressured by the fans because they were like, why don't you guys date? Why don't you guys date? Like, you guys are always together and like you're best friends. Like, why don't you guys date? And like, it's, by the way, it's still happening. And like, you're just like, okay, should we be dating? Like, should we try this out? Should we do something? So we were kind of peer pressured by fans, and at the same time. So we started like questioning, should we? And then, one thing led to another, and like the slip of the finger. And then, next thing you know, it winds up on, as the big discussion on Summer House. And it's like, oh God.
Right.
It definitely put a toll on our relationship. But I honestly think, people say this, but it brought us a lot closer.
Yeah. It made for good TV. We got to be honest, right?
We even watching these episodes last season. At one point I did Andy Cohen last year, and I was like, I just need to talk to you. Like, I feel so bad. Like, you watch it, you replay stuff, and you obviously are not happy about some of your behavior. Clearly mine heavily. And that, I care about her. I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to be an asshole. And so like, you go through those experiences, and it brought us a lot closer. And,
Yeah, we actually like somehow managed to, it took like a month, which is like nothing in like the big scheme of life. But like, it took a month for us to like recover from our situation.
Experiment.
Brief romance.
And then Carl dressed up as me for my birthday, and I was like, okay, we're best friends again.
Nice.
We were supposed to dress up. We were going to do a Lindsay's birthday, dress up like your favorite version of Lindsay. Workout Lindsay.
He was workout Lindsay, and it looked really good on him. And I was like, okay, you're my best friend.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. And now you live in the same building. Couldn't be closer.
We're closer than ever.
Literally closer than ever. I mean, if this was a sitcom, a scripted show, season 10 would end with like your wedding because the way the storyline's going.
Yeah, up and down.
Yeah. So now let's talk about going into season 5. Carl, you went into this summer being sober, which you've never done before. Explain your plan for that or why you did that.
I mean, listen, obviously, if you've watched the show, you've seen, some of my patterns of behavior, and it's stuff that I was doing outside of the show. I mean, I think the show actually probably saved me in a lot of ways. And just, my personal life outside the show, I was partying and just not taking care of myself. And I think when you watch numerous episodes and you have your close friends like Lindsay and other people are like, hey, are you okay? Like, are you all right? And I had a lot of that last 2019 fall. And I'd gone to a Tony Robbins seminar in December in West Palm Beach. I was just looking for something. I needed something. I was just in a dark place. And from that, made some amends with my dad and started doing therapy. Was, planning to talk to my brother and just, was taking better care of myself. And I felt like the alcohol piece was something I needed to have a better conversation about. So I took like 4 months off from drinking. I went into the summer. I tried moderation. Being in the house with everybody obviously is challenging. I think just me figuring out how to navigate. So I definitely drank a little bit, but very proud of myself how I handled everything.
Me too.
And then, most recently, I've been sober 34 days now, which is good.
Nice.
I'm going to continue to do that. And yeah, I think right now, especially with the pandemic, things can be very triggering. There's a lot of anxiety and stress. Just for me right now, I need to be sober, and I'm feeling great about it. But you'll see like a more balanced, normal Carl, which all my friends normally see during the day, but not necessarily on the program.
I was gonna say, number one, I'm so proud of Carl. It can't be easy being in this environment when everyone else is drinking, but like, trying to like employ some moderation into your alcohol intake, and like he was able to do that while everyone else around him is like, but also like, when it comes to Carl, I think from seasons 1 through 4, everyone has seen very different sides of him, but they've never truly seen what we as his best friends love and adore and appreciate, which is his beautiful, genuine, fantastic, like soul. And I think as viewers, I'm personally excited for viewers to see who we all see, like to his core of like this beautiful person, because it was like covered up by like, just like drunken alcoholic fights.
Right.
And now that's eliminated in this season for him, viewers will be able to like look inside to this Carl that we all love.
That's awesome.
That was so nice.
That's a perfect answer for that. Carl, you also said that you started meditating, I heard.
Yeah.
How has that changed your life?
I think for me, having like a daily routine is something I've always thrived. I've thrived in environments with like structure and routines, and I've lost that a little bit over the last couple of years. And meditation, one of our producers, actually, our favorite producer, or one of our favorites, Wes, he had actually told me about it because we were driving to the Hamptons season 4, and Wes was in the back seat, and he goes, "Mate," he's British. "Mate, I need 10 minutes, mate. I'm going to meditate."
But mate.
So he puts on his noise cancellation headphones, and I'm driving down the Long Island Expressway heading to filming, and I'm like, look back, and he's sitting there like this in my backseat of my car. I'm like, okay, this is weird. But I started asking more questions, like, what is that? He's like, I meditate 10 minutes a day. And I started reading about it, and I downloaded the Calm app in December 2019. And I use it pretty much every day now. For me, it's just something to like, I have anger problems. I get very pissed off very quickly. And reaction. And so it's a help, like it says, calming, and just lets those feelings come in and lets those feelings go.
Yeah. It's also anxiety. I think, anxiety is a word, I think in most situations, and I'm learning this in my own individual therapy. Like I'm an anxious person, right? And like I'm reactionary. And I think anxiety as a word has kind of like a bad rap. Like anxiety is like wrapped around everything in life. And it can make everyone anxious in different ways. Like I get anxious more than anyone can possibly understand. But, you know, it's through like therapy, meditation that like we deal with it.
How you handle it. Right.
And it should be like talked about more. And
Yeah.
I really applaud Carl for, you know, being so open about it, because it's like, you know, not something to ever be ashamed of, especially during quarantine and COVID. Like,
oh yeah,
everyone needs to be gentle on themselves.
Well said.
And I'll tell you something. I started meditating like 2.5 years ago. A friend took me to Unplug Meditation in LA. And I'm like, what is this? I never really understood it. And I go to this class, and it was called Brain Massage. And they put on these headphones, and the teacher's name is Peter Opperman. You could look him up. But I don't know what happened, but he took us through the course, and it like cracked me open. It like
Did he come to New York?
Yeah, no, you probably could. No, but it.
We're in the same building.
Exactly. I went to this like 5D state, he called it. It was so unbelievable, and I just got it after that. It was like an out of body experience, and then I went back every week, and until the pandemic hit. But it just the way you react to things, the way you think about things, you start to think about the things you really appreciate, and that's such an important thing. And I think the pandemic has done that for everybody, actually. Yeah. Collectively made us focus on what we appreciate, but I recommend meditating.
Yeah, it's been powerful. I mean, it's good for the newbies too. Like people kind of have like a fear of it, or it's hard, or how do I do it? But I've found it's very like the guided pieces are just it teaches you how to do it.
Yeah.
And am I perfect? No. I mean, I have ADD out the wazoo. I'll sit there in my 10 minutes and probably open my eyes and get distracted, but I'm still trying, and I still put the effort in. So
right.
Well, so Carl's also been going to acupuncture lately, and he found this acupuncture place, and then I was like, okay, like my best friend Carl is like obsessed with this place, and he goes like 2 to 3 times a week, and I was like, Carl, set me up an appointment. I need to know what you know. Like, what are you doing that I should know about? And so he sets me up. Like, we go last week, and I did acupuncture for the first time, which was phenomenal. It's a place called Aura.
Okay.
Aura Space.
Aura Space.
It's got to become a Hub House client.
Yeah, they should. We should. Carl's their biggest publicist at this point.
I love it. Well,
yeah,
it's something that also is similar to meditation. There's like, you don't know much about it. It looks like it hurts. It looks like it's you go to some Western medicine place in a basement, and
right. This
particular experience is like, it's almost like a doctor. I mean, you tell them a lot about what's going on in your body, sleeplessness or anxiety, how you eat, your diet, how you're sleeping, all this stuff, and they dial in all the points. So for me, like I got acupuncture last year before going on Andy Cohen.
Yeah,
I was ready to get roasted about what I did to her and how.
Right.
And I got acupuncture, and I went on Andy Cohen, and he didn't ask me anything about it, Lindsay. I mean, he kind of did, but
right.
Today.
So it's been really helpful just for some of those different reasons. But I recommend acupuncture to anybody.
Well, so you went into season 5 with this whole new mindset. So what are you guys, because season 5 is airing right now, what are you guys able to tell people about season 5 of Summer House?
I mean, you're going to see, it's just like, I don't know, it's just such a different summer.
Yeah.
It's very intimate. It's very intimate.
Very intimate, yeah.
You know, like we're filming around the clock 24/7, didn't leave the house, didn't go back to the city. Like you're with us the whole time we're there.
Did you have work hours during the week? Did you have to give yourself work time?
Work hours.
Yeah, we tried. I mean, it's, we balance a little bit, but we definitely had days where it was like, we need to get our shit done or take time for yourself. But
yeah,
you also just feel obligated. You're in a house and you're like, we're here to like have fun and be with our friends. But
yeah.
It was a different experience. But I think you'll see this season. I mean, you're going to see some rawness, just like Monday through Friday, like us waking up early to go to work or waking up late or just the raw, like day-to-day stuff. But also I think you'll see some friendships that kind of evolve in nice ways. You'll see some others that are incredibly interesting. And there's definitely a love triangle going on right now with Luke and Hannah Sierra that you'll have to see. I think that.
Right. The entire cast.
Yeah, I was back in a relationship this season.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah, I was back in a relationship, and it's a very personal journey. We've since broke up, and that's out there in the media, and everyone knows. But
he was quarantined with you guys. You brought him to the house.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes that doesn't work out.
Wait, so I have a question for you though. So when things are going on in your real lives now, 7-8 months later, does Bravo not want you to post about what's really going on in your life if it conflicts with the storyline airing on the show, or it's okay?
This wasn't about that. I broke up with my boyfriend in October, and I needed time to, number one, make sure that it was actually sticking, because sometimes you have some oopsies and you just have to like sort it out, and you're like, am I really broken up or am I not really broken up? Am I gonna keep hooking up with him? Like, are we gonna turn into friends? You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know where it's gonna go.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure that before I said anything to even my friends, I mean, obviously Carl and Danielle were like the first people to really know what was going on. Like Carl's my number one phone call.
I know what's going on without knowing what's going on.
Yeah. I think people can tell that by now.
Yeah.
Just behavior.
Yeah, exactly. Like mannerisms. But I wasn't ready to announce anything in a very public way, or to even my producers, or like tell anyone beyond my like very immediate close friends and family, until I was ready. And I needed to make sure that I was ready, and go through that process, like the whole process of breaking up, where you're just like sad and you're grieving, and then you're angry and you're fucking furious, and then you're like, well, but did I do something? Like, could I have done something differently? I had to do that whole thing before I was willing to really talk to the public about it.
Right.
That time frame just so happened to coincide with, all of a sudden, Summer House season 5 is premiering.
Yeah.
And, it's like, fine. Everyone wants to say this was like for the show. I don't even care anymore. This is my life. And I'm going to talk about what I'm comfortable with. Like, this is my one opportunity in the middle of a breakup to do it in private. And everyone's like, oh my God, no problem. I appreciate everyone's support, but like, please do understand that I know what is best for me.
Yeah.
And I'm a 34-year-old female who lives in New York City, and I make the decisions that are very thought out and thorough. And everything is good. But yeah, no, like we're good. I mean, I'm broken up, I'm single, moving on, and I am very happy about that. Okay.
So what we see on the show will be a slice of your life from the summer that doesn't necessarily have to do with what's going on in your life now.
When is this episode airing?
I don't know. Podcast? Oh, this is coming out Monday.
So Thursday's episode that you just saw will give you a good glimpse into why we broke up.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so I want to add that the cast of season 5 is the same cast as season 4, with the exception of Jules is no longer on the show, but a new cast member, Ciara, has joined the show. She's Luke's friend, and it looks like there's going to be a love triangle between Luke and Ciara and Hannah, right? That seems to be a storyline. And how did you guys feel about a newcomer coming into a situation where, you guys are quarantined together? It's not the coming and going just on the weekend.
I mean, I've always loved having new guests and new friends to the group. I think it always adds a different layer, especially for Ciara. I mean, listen, it was amazing to have her. She's obviously a gorgeous girl, but I think me as a guy, like, it's always nice to have a new face in the crowd. And she was a breath of fresh air. I mean, she fit in as well as she could have under the circumstances of coming in with Luke and having somewhat of a history with him, and then also she wasn't really privy to some of the other relationships in the house that Luke had maybe had, and etc.
Right.
So I also, she's a nurse, day to day, and also working at hospitals in one of the most difficult times in our country.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
I think for her, it was nice to her to get a little escape and a vacation. But I've joked before, like, I don't know if she still likes us anymore after, it was a different.
I think she likes us.
She likes us, but she'd never been to the Hamptons before, really. So we
seems very cool. She seems like a very cool addition to the house.
She's cool.
Yeah, and by the way, she's still a nurse. And like, I saw her Instagram story the other day where it was like bullet pointing out like all the crazy things that she has to deal with as a nurse, and it's like, that's hard.
No,
joke. Props to her for just like going to war with like the world of life that we live in and this pandemic. And like, she carries her head high and her shoulders back. And it's like very refreshing to see.
Yeah. And Carl, the last thing about season 5 that I want to ask you about is, so Paige came in with a boyfriend, but he didn't come into the house. He stayed in New York City. So she had a boyfriend, but she was living in the house without a boyfriend. Now, what position does that put you in when you're like, I kind of like this girl, but she's got a boyfriend outside of this? Is that a difficult situation during quarantine?
I mean, at the time, it wasn't. It was just like, I don't know. Paige and I have a great chemistry. We're friends, and I think for me, what can come across as like different is she was, going through a pivotal time in a relationship of like, hey, am I moving to Miami? Am I going to take this next step with him? I was always like, Paige, like, do what's best for you. I want you to be an independent woman. I want you to take your career seriously. I want you to feel like you've got control of your life, and versus maybe relinquishing some of those things to a man who's ready to settle down. Like, are you ready to settle down? So in that, you get really close. But I'm not a homewrecker. I mean, as much as I've had my misgivings on the show, but I've never like cheated on anybody or like done stuff like that. But I don't know. I think you'll see just our friendship get very close. Clearly, she's a babe. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. But
I think what's so fun about watching it back is that the conversations you are not privy to that other people have. Yeah, because you're not in it. Right. Yeah. Like if Carl and Paige are by the pool having a conversation, I just look out the window like, oh, they're just like having a conversation. But now I get to watch what the hell they were talking about. Right. Like that's fun for us as castmates. Yeah. To like be like, oh, so that's what was happening. Yeah. You realize like what's going on like in those conversations that you just had no idea about.
Yeah. So you guys can watch the show as viewers too and enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's the part that no one really understands. It's the strangest thing in the world. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow night because there's conversations I wasn't in Lindsay's room for.
Well, now we know why I need a sandwich.
All that stuff is very interesting, and even the interviews are always like I laugh. I want everybody to have a good time. It's just fun watching it back sometimes, but also very interesting.
I've never had this much hair in my entire life.
Oh, I see the little thingy now.
Well, one other thing I want to mention, that you guys have your own lines right now. Lindsay has a line of clothes that say "Don't activate me," which is her catchphrase from the show.
Take me for that one.
Oh, really? Well, Carl's catchphrase is "Less stress, more life," right? Yep. And you're putting that on clothes now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with a company that. It's a challenge because Drake, the rapper, I mean, he has an album named More Life, and I'm not trying to get in Drake's lawsuit list.
I keep trying to get Carl to like do like a collection with me.
I would do something with her. I've never been one to want to. I don't know. The More Life thing is great. It's funny, but I have other stuff. I'd rather make like a coffee table book, or
that's what we.
I'd rather do something another merchandise.
We have to talk to you off camera about that.
Okay, let's do that. Wait, so Carl, but you do have a line called "More Summer Fun." And you made a T-shirt that says "Summer," but in the font of like Dare, those Dare shirts, and the money.
Well, I mean, no, I basically designed those with the help of the company More Summer Fun.
Got it. Okay.
I know the guys that are behind it. They have the ability to like do really cool designs. I sent them some inspiration and ideas, and the Dare logo was one of them.
Oh, okay. But you had a thing during Mental Illness Awareness Week. You did something where the proceeds went to the Geyser Addiction Center, which is where your brother went for treatment. Yep. So talk about like that, what you went through this year with that kind of affecting everything in your life.
Obviously like my brother's had some challenges in the past, and this summer, unfortunately, we lost him. Sadly, it was really tough, but I think in that moment, like the very first knee reaction is, how can I help? What can I do using, my story, my brother's story. So my brother had a great experience at this facility outside of Pennsylvania or outside of Pittsburgh. And I just felt like I should create a kind of a t-shirt with inspiration of my brother. My brother was, really funny. Not a lot of people got to meet him or know him, but he just had a great sense of humor. We always used to laugh and joke about Zoolander or funny, old school or funny comedies. Mm-hmm. And the joke, because I modeled, and my brother would always be like, "So hot right now," constantly. And it's a funny joke, but I just was like, okay, my brother hated my brother had, the Dare program. He always like kind of mocked it. So he'd wear the Dare shirt almost as like an anti. I think you saw that a lot with kids in the 90s. It was like the kids that wore Dare shirts are the ones that were actually doing drugs.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I laugh about it now, but I wanted to create something that was light and fun and uplifting. And yeah, we donated the proceeds from that to the Geyser Rehab Center. We ended up raising like $4,000. So we sold some t-shirts, some hats, some merch. And I basically just, created some inspiration. But I do have the ability to create some more. And I'm thinking of doing some more life stuff.
Yeah. So. And you guys should do it together. The Don't Activate Me, raise it for a good cause.
Well, now that we have a new merchandise partner, we can. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so 5 seasons in, do either of you have any regrets from the last 5 seasons? Or are you happy?
I don't like to regret anything. I like to learn.
Yeah.
And move forward with what I've learned, because that means growth. And like,
agreed.
That's what you're supposed to do in life, is like grow from your mistakes and learn from your mistakes. So I mean, I've messed up in so many ways in life. And maybe it takes us in New York a little bit longer to grow up. But no regrets for me.
I mean, she said it so well. I mean, yes, there's like last season, I mean, I was really beat up about some of my behavior. I would call her after watching the episode, be like, I'm so sorry. Like I was a flaming asshole.
I was like, I'm mad at you right now. Let me call you back in an hour.
But like, I think it's been a gift in disguise in a way. I mean, for me to take a lot of steps with my own health and alcohol and drug use and things like that, it's actually helped me in a lot of ways. So I don't regret anything. It's just been like, it slapped me in the face. Like, hey dude, you got to grow up. Hey, you got to watch your drinking. Hey, you got to take care of your health. Hey, you got to watch your, be mindful of the people around you and how your behavior affects them. And all those different things were like slapping me in the face. And it's like, I don't regret that I had to go through that. I was like, it's helped me grow and become a better man.
Yeah, got you where you are today.
We're like trying to be adults now.
Yeah. I think you're both in a really good place. You both seem really happy. You both come out on top. I think
we're both we got new apartments. The show's on. I think it's
number one show.
But we have a lot to be happy and thankful for, and that's why it's like I always find a way to laugh or be grateful about what we have. Yes, there's parts that are terrible and hard and really difficult. Social media is very hard sometimes, and people perceive you and think of you in certain ways. I mean, your sexuality is questioned, your romance is questioned, your job life. People like really take that as gospel when they watch this show. They'll see 40 minutes of a show and meet me in real life and think I'm a flaming asshole. And it's like, that is a part of me, but we're very lucky and grateful. It's like, I mean, not a lot of people can do or, have the experiences like we've had. So I feel very lucky and fortunate.
I mean, I know the real both of you, and the TV persona is not the people that I knew, at least. So
it's me, but on steroids.
Yeah, it's different. It's like I don't have like crazy drunk memories of Carl. Like he's very serious and like professional, and like it's a different version. But
maybe a Bootsy Bowls that one night.
Maybe a couple nights, but that's a night.
I don't know. I feel like we're like pretty same on or off camera.
Yeah, but I just mean the good stuff. I mean, you're good people.
Yeah. Oh, you see are good.
Always, yeah. I wouldn't be friends with you.
It would be fun to watch if we were perfect. The
nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Having flaws and being, going through growth and changes is, I think, what makes it relatable.
Yeah. I feel like America is like growing up and watching us grow up in front of their eyes, and they're just like
growing up house.
Well, that leads into my next question. Will there be a season 6, and how long will you guys keep doing Summer House for?
I mean, we don't, honestly, we don't know. We don't really, we'll ever find out until probably the spring. I mean, obviously I would think they'd want to see how this season goes, what's going on in the world with COVID. Clearly me and Lindsay would love to do it again.
Yeah.
But I'll say this for myself. I mean, I'm 36. If I'm doing this when I'm 40, then we should have some questions.
I think do it.
4 years.
I think do it for as long as they'll have you. I think do it for as long.
I feel great about doing it again. I think I'm excited because there's still a lot of growth with, Lindsay's relationship life, her professional career, mine. I mean, I feel like there's still some legs, there's still some meat on the bone for people to enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Hubba?
I'm still
Someone scared us. We have an intruder.
Well, before we go, I have to ask you guys.
Shut proud of me.
Hopefully it's somebody that you know, not an actual intruder.
No, I leave my door unlocked.
Oh, okay. Don't tell people that.
There was that Suzanne Summers thing.
I know, that's what I just thought of.
Someone broke into her house
While she was doing a Facebook Live, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She's in the live and she's like, "You're not supposed to be here."
Some guy like walked into her house. That's what I thought was happening right now.
The person did leave. I think they had like someone escort him out.
Yeah, something strange.
She was very calm and composed about it. It was surprising.
By the look on Lindsay's face, I thought that's what was happening.
I was ready to protect this house.
There you go, stepping up.
Like the Hub House.
Exactly, the real Hub House. So before we go, I always like to ask my guests, what advice do you have for somebody who would like a career like yours? And it could be either the reality star side or the business owner side, lover boy, Hub House. What advice do you give someone who dreams?
I would say, the biggest thing is you got to put the work in. I think people think you can be overnight. Like I'll apply it to both of what we have. We have a professional life that's been successful and we're very lucky, but we've also this TV world. Both of those avenues, we put the work in. I was oftentimes the last person in the office.
Same.
Even when it comes to the summer house, the amount of effort we put in off camera with connecting dots with party ideas, restaurants, friends, working with the producers to make this show the best show we could possibly make it. So I think anything you're doing, not going to happen overnight. Put a plan together and you got to put the work in.
I want to piggyback off of that. And I do believe that unfortunately in this day and age, like people don't necessarily realize like we didn't just fall into like our lives. Like we worked hard to get to where we were. Right. And, and I think that's a tribute to when an opportunity door opens, you walk through it, right? Yeah. But the door doesn't just open on its own. You have to like be like putting yourself in that position to be in front of that door.
Right.
And ready for it. So, I think with people's attention spans and like livelihoods and where they're at, like I wish people knew how hard everyone used to work in the world. Like nothing is given to you. And this is one thing that my dad always said to me, Lindsay, nothing in life is for free. And the first thing that the first lesson I ever learned from my father at 14 years old, he goes, "Hey, Linz, you want a car when you're 16? I said, yeah. And he said, how are you going to pay for it? And I said, guess I'll go get a job, Dad. And I started working the next day. So
wow,
you have to fucking work and you have to put in the hard work. And once you do that, the doors start opening, right?
Well, I was going to add to that. When the doors open, and the doors will open with the hard work, but this is another great piece of advice, and it's very relevant for this conversation. You never know who you're going to interact with again in that journey. So
yeah, look at us.
Brett had your success, but if we were dickheads to you back in 2009 or 2010, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Right. So I think you never know who your next boss is going to be. Yeah, Don't burn bridges if you can. Not. If me and Lindsay had treated producers horribly first seasons, we probably wouldn't be here. We've had our moments, but we've apologized and grown. Yeah. So I think a lot of this too is you treat people well, be nice to people, and be kind. It can come back and pay you back in dividends as being a good person.
And be kind. Hard. I agree.
Put the work in. You got to put the work in. You can't just expect.
Well, that's what some people want to be on a show for one season and get their blue check mark and like be famous.
That's not how this happened for us.
There's, for every
behind the scenes people, this fell into our lap. Yes. But it's because we worked hard and people were like, who are these people?
But I don't think most people knew you started out as behind the scenes people. That's why I wanted to do this interview, to really get to know the real people that I knew before Summer House.
Yeah.
Well, I agreed to do the show, honestly, to make a little bit of extra cash to pay off student loans. Okay, yeah. I had $40,000 of student loans I had to pay off, and I was like, you know what? Let's go. Might as well. I go to the Hamptons every summer. Listen, my parents didn't even know. I told them literally a couple of months ago, and they were like, we didn't know that. And I was like,
yeah,
that's amazing. Wow. I love it. Well, now we know the true story behind everything. So the very last thing we do here at On the List is called the mystery question, where I have the guest from my last podcast Send me a question, mystery question. It gets sealed in an envelope. Even I don't know what it is.
Who was your last guest?
My last guest was Dane Cook, the comedian.
Oh shit! Does he even know who we are?
But no, my last guest doesn't even know who the next guest is, so it's a total mystery all around. So
I just saw she's it's my best friend's girl.
Oh yeah, he's in that with Kate Hudson.
Yeah, he's pretty wild in that movie.
So this mystery question was emailed to me from Dane Cook, and the question is, I'll give you each a chance to answer. Are you introspective? If so, what about yourself do you wish to work on moving forward in order to shape a better you?
Okay, the answer for me. Oh wait, do I answer for Carl?
No, yourself.
Yeah, my answer is yes, I'm introspective. I think that you kind of have to be when you're on TV for 5 seasons. And if you're not, people will make sure that you are.
Yeah.
I'm introspective in the fact that I'm a very reactive person. So I've been working with my therapist a lot about my reactivity and how to not be so reactive and to control my emotions a little bit more.
Don't activate her. Don't activate me.
No, she's reactivated.
I'm reactivated.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great question, Dane, and I'm a fan of his work. I think he's one of those guys that's also like, it's funny. He's a good looking dude, but also funny. It's kind of hard to be the two. So I've always admired his ability to do that. But
same with you.
Well, I appreciate what I think is interesting is something about introspective is like, I've noticed you get a lot more out of when you can do something for someone that can't do something for you. So like treating a waiter well, treating like a trash person, like those are just little things that like I've realized I can make a small impact in a day. Like someone holding the door open for you, like smiling at them, being nice to them. That's going to help me grow and feel more, I don't know. I just feel like when you do nice things for other people that can never repay you, you gain so much out of that in like little ways.
I agree with you there.
I think I'm trying to do more acts of service in my 2021 life.
What's your love language?
It's attention or
perfect. Attention.
No, what is it?
Quality.
It's quality time.
Quality time.
We were working on our.
You caught me off guard.
Sorry, I didn't.
I like attention. That's what I like and love.
Well, perfect, because you're on a TV show, so that's perfect.
He's like, food.
Back rubs.
But I do want to say, with what Carl said, when I was throwing parties at nightclubs, I always said I treat the bathroom attendant the same way I treat the owner of the club. And you don't even know the difference that makes in your experience because you don't know who you're going to need when to help you with whatever. Some actor steps on a champagne glass and rushes to the bathroom, and now I need that guy to help me carry that person out through the garage, which has happened.
100%. I always tell Carl, if God forbid I were to die tomorrow, you need to invite the doorman, my nail lady, the wine guy down the street who I order wine from every night. Like you got to invite all of them to my funeral because these are my daily interactions, and they keep me sane by being so kind, and then you in return are kind.
Yeah, I think what you said.
This goes a long way.
Well, when Lindsay said it in 2 words, be kind. I mean, if everyone was just kind to each other, the world would be a much better place. It comes down to that. It's a beautiful note to end on. And also, so because I have 2 guests today, you will each email me a mystery question. So my next guest will get 2 mystery questions at the end, whoever they may be.
Yes, she actually has good questions that her and her girlfriends talk about all the time.
Oh, good. Okay.
So many questions.
So send me 2 mystery questions.
I'll ask my therapist. I have a call with my therapist tomorrow. So
perfect.
I'll ask her.
Great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
well,
I
wish we could catch up more appropriately, but
no, we will. Well, I'm on the East Coast right now for quarantine, so I will.
Out of our screen.
Yeah, let's do it. You want me to do it? Here, I'll do it right now.
Yeah, do it because we don't have the hands.
Ready? Smile. Got it. Nice. So that is a wrap on episode 60. We did it. Thank you, Carl and Lindsay, for being here. That was so much fun. Summer House Season 5 is airing now on Bravo. You can watch it on Thursday nights on demand. #1 on iTunes. If you haven't seen it, which I don't know how you haven't at this point, what are you waiting for? I'm looking forward to watching the rest of Season 5 and many more seasons to come. At least till Carl turns 40.
Yeah, 4 more years.
Yeah, 4 more years.
4 more years. 4 more years. Thank you. Thanks again, both of you. Thank you, everybody, for
So
listening.
good to talk to you.
Cheers, brother.
And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Sounds good, man.
Bye.